This budget process did take some extra time, but I said from the very beginning, it's not a race to a deadline, it's a race to the right results. And we have to move this state forward. I said we have to make it safer, more affordable, and more livable. I made that promise in my State of the State back in January. And that's exactly what this budget does.
Governor Hochul said the final budget deal was worth the wait. She held out to get more changes to the state's controversial bail reform laws, giving judges more discretion to set bail for people accused of serious crimes. The budget will also support the state's move to clean energy and electrifying new buildings, especially in New York City, by 2026. And the minimum wage will start to rise to $17 in New York City and $16 for the rest of the state in 3 years. After that, it will automatically increase every year at the rate of inflation. There were some things left out of the budget. One of the governor's major proposals to build 800,000 new units of housing over the next decade was rejected by Democrats who control the Senate and Assembly over concerns the proposal would give the state the authority to override local zoning laws. Assemblyman Billy Jones says the budget deal includes a lot of funding for priorities in the North Country.
We delivered record amounts in K through 12 education, foundation aid. We've done that. I was able to get a lot of budget items in there that organizations here that need here in the North Country to do business. NAMS Trams, I got funding for that. We have this great transportation manufacturing cluster here in the Plattsburgh region, and this organization helps out with that. Infrastructure money, desperately needed for our municipalities here and on our state roads. We got some good money in there for that. So, is it a perfect budget? No. I've been here 7 years now. This is my 7th budget, by far and away the most frustrating budget I've been a part of. And we're over 30 days late. Not too much to be proud of there, but there are some deliverables in there.
And this goes back to the days, for many, many years, the budget would be weeks, even months late. So sort of back to those days where it wasn't passed on time. But you mentioned frustrating why? For
Just
you?
Because of the negotiations, we would think we were almost there and then no. And I think a lot of that has to deal with putting the policy in the budget. And when the budget came out in January, early February, now I guess this year, that kind of pushed things back a little bit too, honestly. In the first year of a governor's term, the governor gets an extra couple of weeks to put out their budget. Usually it's by January 15th. This time it was February 1st, I believe. So, that pushed things back, but that's not an excuse. We deserve, and our residents deserve to have an on-time budget. And, I don't think anybody's raising their hands in the air over this.
And you talk about the policies. It seemed that the governor was determined that bail reform was going to be revisited and tweaked, and it was. What do you think of what came out of this budget deal, giving the judges more discretion? Do you agree with the changes that have been made?
Yes, I do. And I thought a few more changes could have been made, but overall I've talked to a few of our local judges. I've talked to DAs. The head of the District Attorneys Association for New York State happens to be the opposite party of the governor, but was standing side by side with her yesterday in New York City, signing the bill. So I was for the changes, for improvements into that, to give a little more discretion, and we'll have to see. Time will tell. Like I said, I'm done in the prediction category. I don't predict things anymore, but certainly changes need to be made. We made the changes. We'll see what the results are.
You think there could be more? I know Republicans don't think this goes far enough.
Tom, I think if you put it back to the way it was, there'll still be complaints from people. It's, unfortunately, we get into the realm of everything is political. Let's just put it that way.
There were some controversial parts to this budget. Raising the minimum wage, $17 in 3 years in New York City, $16 for the rest of the state and North Country. Too much?
50 cents a year for the next 3 years. I know some of my small businesses aren't particularly happy with it, but I know in talking to a lot of my businesses right now, they're paying that now. It is a workforce shortage out there that we have probably never seen in this state, in the North Country, in the country. I think there are very few businesses, competitive businesses, that are probably paying below $15 an hour. So I know they're not happy with it. With that comes payroll. I think a better way to do this would be to get the businesses a payroll tax rebate. So instead of New York State taking that money, they get the money, they can pass it on to their employees. I was a small voice in that room, but you know, it's a small increase.
And part of this is also tying future increases to the rate of inflation.
Yeah, there's a few off ramps on that, though, what the unemployment rate is at the time, and a few other things.
You agree with that?
Yeah, I think you have to put in those safeguards.
State Senator Dan Steck says the bail reforms don't go far enough and that the budget is, in his words, a financial disaster, riddled with bad policies.
People are leaving our state in droves, and the high taxes and cost of living and doing business are the primary reasons why. We need to make New York more affordable for families and for businesses. Instead, the governor and Democrat leaders are quadrupling down on the expensive, failing policies New Yorkers don't want and are fleeing our state to avoid. Our residents want tax relief and economic opportunity, not billions in tax hikes and bans on gas hookups and new construction. I believe we must restore fiscal sanity. For that reason, I voted against this costly state budget.
Steck says despite promises to enact a prison reuse initiative for sites like Mariah Shock in Mineville, the issue was ignored. In a statement, he also said rather than funding universal school lunches, something that has widespread bipartisan support, the budget deal shortchanged that program in favor of, Steck says, providing several million to cannabis-related programs. You can watch Governor Hochul's full news conference touting the new budget deal on our website and YouTube channel.